No, competition just doesn't exist. No,
No,
at the
even though
moment,
it's free then in Europe, people have been flying over from US and from Canada and
as they do.
different continents flying in, just like, well, I need to do this training. Okay, let's talk about the last training maybe because that was is the freshest experience that we have. How many trainings have you actually done? How many de-armoring
Yeah,
training
this
have
is a
you
good
done?
question. We started in 2016 in October was the first training, and then it was pretty much two a year until now. So there will be like 14, 13, 14, something like that trainings. And
Yeah.
I can see a definite, as we as team are progressing and getting better at being better at being me and Sana and also you, but also our synergy and working together. It's getting more and more kind of into like the concussion is getting all the ingredients that it needs to have to be super good. So I can see
Yeah.
the progression there, big one.
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting. So I've been observing the development of the training in the last 2 years. So I've done, I think this is my fifth training that I co-facilitated with you guys after Corona. So the first one was planned in 2020. That didn't happen. So you were already 6 years on the go with everything.
Hmm.
But how did you start and what was your way in? And so how did you build that up?
I mean, the whole thing started really when there was really no training in the armoring anywhere. And but what was happening is from all these tantra schools that the armoring started getting a name and people started doing the armoring kind of en masse. And then we started getting feedback from customers, just like people that we would meet at tantra festivals, at all sorts of workshops, friends, because we were all kind of in the scene. And a lot of feedback started coming back super negative. The people being almost like not raped because that's a strong word, but definitely boundaries crossed left, right, and center during the sessions. And then we thought, oh, this is not good. This is giving the armoring a really bad name. And so we thought, let's then do something about it. And then we didn't really know. One moment, please. And then we didn't really know what to. One moment. We didn't really know what to do about it until maybe like 6 months after that initial conversation. And then we said, okay, like let's start doing trainings. Let's offer something safe and responsible for people to actually step into and start training properly. Start designing a system that can actually introduce people to the armoring and create safe and responsible practitioners. So that was the initial thought. And then as we started doing training after training, then we also found out that not only those kind of trainings were good for people to go into the armoring profession, but also people who were already some kind of body worker or masseur or something wanted to go through the grill of the training to improve their skills, to improve themselves as a human. So then they actually created the need to start doing retreats as well as the trainings. So that's really how the whole thing started and developed.
Hmm. Yeah, interesting. I mean, it started in 2014, you said. I mean, I was
16.
2016.
16, yeah.
16, okay, no,
Yeah.
14. So it started 2016 with the trio with you, Sana,
And
Beatrice,
Susan Rosgaard.
and Susanne Rosgaard,
Yeah.
and that has been kind of evolving and developing over the years. And I mean, I know you since, I mean, closer since 2020 as well. So we did the first induction together in the Netherlands in 2020. So I was this,
Wow. It feels like decades ago, but it
it's
was only
just ages ago.
years ago.
It is
Yeah.
how it feels. But I know Sana since 2010. And so I've kind of seen her as a friend and as a practitioner, as a professional, kind of evolving and developing. And the way how I perceive her now in 2023 or 2024 has have done 16 of these trainings or something like that. So it's like she has made a massive shift in the way how she's showing up public and the way how she has developed as a professional and as a
Mm.
guide. It's just like absolutely inspiring. And I see so many people around her really blossoming and just like opening up to that, and kind of working next to you as well, and starting to get to know you better, and get to feel you better the way how you work. Just like there was one of the participants, Shahib, said that very clearly in one of the testimonies, just like the way how he looks at you, he is crystal sharp. There's no bullshit. And that, I love that about you, the way how you show up. There is no kind of chopping around the bush. It's just like, yeah, you just come here to get real and be authentic. And but my question to you is, um, how do you show up with this kind of sharpness, with this authenticity, just like you just really cut through the bullshit? Is there sometimes some kind of insecurity about that, that you think, oh my God, am I on the right track? Am I doing the right thing? Will they love me? Will they hate me? So how is it going for you when you're in this?
Yeah, I mean, when you were sharing about Sana's journey, I also look at over the last 7, 8, 9 years, actually a little bit more, but in the Dearmouring Arts, the same thing, like how much I've developed, and so then this thing about putting my foot in the wrong place, I did a lot of that because I didn't know how to be appropriate in this approach. So I had to test it many times and make many mistakes. So it's still like a work in progress, but I guess it's just part of my personality as well. And like when I see Sana, she does similar. She also goes in like a lioness, you know. So it's the style, but I think it's being developed. And also, what I really like about you and your style, when you kind of come as a mix into the trio, is that I really like your observational capacity to look from a little bit behind, not go straight in the front and like, but just give yourself time to observe the whole situation and to feel into what's really going on. And then your input comes, I can really say it is like a more mature than mine. So this is what I like about you, what I'm learning from you, is this ability to not go with the first impulse, but sit back on it, and maybe even second, third impulse, sit back on those as well. And then come with a seasoned, matured response to what's going on.
Hmm.
So this is why I think you're also a great addition to the team. And I
Hmm.
really love working with you, and I trust you
Thank you.
because I can see through time and time that it's actually being proven right, you know. So I think when I look all three of us over the last, and also I've known you a little bit through, mostly through Sana's shares, because she's kind of shared about you over the years a lot, you know. The way three of us developed, and I guess, you know, this is the legacy of the armoring as well. So when I look back, even just for this duration the school exists, we can actually see with records, with like actual people shares and testimonials, and you know, to see that actually even us as teachers are developing a lot through the armoring. So it's amazing. We all know it works, but now after all these years of working together, we can also in each other, we can actually see, yeah, this is a proven and tested method, and we are the walking proof because we are shifting as time goes on.
Yeah, so interesting. The first time when we worked together, the three of us in induction in Ben Woude in the Netherlands, there was just like we had our own kind of de-armoring workshop in our trio when we were outside of the workshop space, and just like, yeah, if we walk the talk as a professional, we cannot pretend everything is good when we're actually sitting on something when we in outside of the group. And this is what you just said before is, yeah, we just like, this is work in progress, and we develop as we teach it, and we share that in the training as well when we talk about this, what is de-armoring, and we say, well, there are some techniques, but there is no book written what de-armoring is, and this is this work in progress. We develop and evolve while we're doing it, and the experience on the go, seeing what the package kind of people come with to the training that we have to create, in the last training, 35 people, individual ways of really helping, guiding people into the place where they want to be, and this for therefore it's just like, well, you can't come from a book, and that's literally as well my approach. I mean, I have done before this, the armoring training, the similar trainings, not that sophisticated, but similar, about 25, and I've done 25 consent trainings. And this is what I've learned over the years. It's just like, just wait, don't be reactive, just really sit and listen and feel, and then let it come. And you might be right, but then having you two guys sitting next to me with your experience is just like, somebody said that, like the three lions or the three lionesses, just like we're circling around the ego and the defense mechanisms. And then
Waiting a moment to kind of pounce on it.
right, waiting for the moment that just like, okay, are you ready to evolve? And then and and I love this part where people are tremendously grateful for this liberation that comes out of that, that the upgrade that people got. But what is for you personally, individually, what is your biggest takeaway from working for so many years now with the armoring? What is your own process of the armoring? As I say that, we can only guide people as far we gotten ourselves, and there's always a deepening for ourselves as the armoring practitioner and facilitator. But what is your deepest takeaway from the armoring
I
personally?
mean, I can see one line developing strongly, which is compassion and softness in dealing with myself, but also with people, with just in my life. So this, I can see it's a very, very big. I can see steps that I've done that are unfolding in the arena of not having to be so hard, and I'm still direct, but it doesn't have to be kind of going with a hammer on a nail. It can be, and now I have developing the capacity more and more to be put as much as is needed rather than going like bush and
Mm,
then explode situation unnecessarily too strong. So that's one line of development that I can see. The other one is really rooting deeper and deeper in the idea that I see the armoring as a lifestyle rather than a technique.
mm,
So the more I'm walking that path, the more I was kind of forced to kind of, because I'm continually working with it and walking with it, then by default it became a lifestyle. And now, in a retrospect, looking over these last few years, I can see that actually, after accepting the armoring as a lifestyle, it allows and brings masses and like multitude of benefits because it's ongoing. As soon as I notice something in myself, in my life, that it's stagnant or armored, then I need to de-armor it. And so the benefits really are many on my own personal skin experience, my own, what I get from it.
mm.
But let me ask you the same back. Like, how do you see yourself being de-armored through these years of being in the field?
Mm. I mean, the great question is that, as we say that in the training, there's so many levels of the armoring. So the emotional, the physical, the rational, or the mental, and on one part, I just love to say it that way, that our armor, our shield, our defense mechanisms, they're all well-equipped, self-designed protection shields that we all have developed to survive, long time back. And some of them, they are so sophisticated that we even don't know them. So we need other people to reflect on them that we can see them. And I love the way how Sana says that. So it's like a sport, just like when you have licked blood yourself and just like, okay, the stuff that I can't see myself because it's so common and obvious. No, it's not obvious. It's like this blind spot that we can't see, but it's obvious for other people to reflect on that, so that we need other people to reflect where we are. And it is this radical honesty to ourselves, kind of saying, okay, yeah, I just need to have a look here. Yeah, I'm not clear, and then looking a level deeper and feeling how um, how it opens up, kind of gives more space on a spiritual developmental structure, just like stuff that was not working before, all of a sudden is easy and is a flow. And seeing that this has a benefit, just like to dig deeper and okay, what else is there? Can I have a look at? What else? How can I liberate more? But then as well, knowing that all this unconscious behavior about shields, the armoring, protections, and all that, not to beat ourselves up that we're wrong or that we have something or that we are broken or we need to heal that so that we can resource ourselves from that place of a making that our superpower or making that my superpower in one regard, knowing, yeah, this I've developed that. That's it's an intelligent feature and that I can use that when I need it, yeah, without making myself wrong. But when, for example, when it comes to intimacy or proximity or spiritual unity or feeling into connection, having the choice to letting that shield go and take that breath and say just like, okay, I'm good as it is, and I don't need to protect myself here, and kind of finding the freedom. That's probably the biggest aha that I had. And the physical relaxation that comes with it is just absolutely worth every tear and every little scarcity that comes up along the way when going through it. So that's probably
Yeah,
my biggest.
physical relaxation. I'm almost like not even thinking about it. There's like an added bonus. That of course it's not. It's nice to have kind of soft shoulders and like relaxed body. It's nice, but really it's like I stopped. This was my probably the entry point years ago when I first started doing it, or at least working on myself. A big part of it was that I was so tight, so it
Mm.
was really kind of moving like this. But nowadays, yeah, it's really like a added bonus that I don't even think about anymore about it.
It's as well so interesting. Some of I don't know if how many are watching, I can't tell. But just like when you have seen the photos from the last armoring training, so we did this kind of kind of thing, and everybody who did the training know what it means. And what I can say about that is that in the physical form and in the energetic form of the armoring, we're touching differently definitely body parts that people haven't gotten touched before. And that comes with a kind of package of emotional garbage of protection and defensiveness. And that defensiveness in a safe way can be observed and can be walked through and worked through. And this is as well a big takeaway for me when I went into the armorings again to the sentence you can guide only people as far as you gotten yourself. When I started the armoring, um, to see how much resistance I had against my own feeling of pain, on a survival mechanism, saying just like pain is wrong, I just want to get away, and people causing pain, they're invaders. But if it's in a safe way from somebody who knows what they're doing, pain is this doorway into liberation. And that experiencing in body parts that we haven't touched before, for example, when we're doing sexual de-armoring or we're going deeper into the throat and mouth area, the resistance that can be liberated is absolutely fantastic. In the last training, I've seen some people are saying just like, what? I'm not doing that. And then they have kind of grabbed their courage and just like and went like through this inner battlefield, this inner war of experience, and then they showed up for themselves in total fear and just like, okay, I don't know if I can do that, but I really want to try it, and I have learned I can say no and I can direct the person, so I'm safe. And then being touched in that place where this trauma is stored, and then seeing this liberated, free being on the other side coming out. Um, Experiencing this liberation is just the observation, seeing that it's just like I just sit there in awe, close to tears of joy and gratitude, saying just like, well, we have done a great job. This person is just like has lost a deep package of their agony, and
Mm.
that's
You know, when
that
when you're
itself.
talking about this sign and what that means, for us, obviously we laugh because we know what it means, but actually metaphorically, I think about the armor itself. became armor because we put it under the carpet. So it's somewhere hidden in a place where you don't want anybody to look at it, touch it, or see it. And then this thing here actually signifies this is exactly where we're going. We're going to touch the areas they don't want to be touched at. And then on a physical level, I mean, this goes, as you said, emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, even the armoring. But this thing here is kind of signifying the areas physically where normally nobody touches us. Like even, for example, under the armpit, like this is so intimate. Like nobody ever touches me there, like ever. I get more touched on my mouth and every other part of the body than there.
Hmm.
So it's like discovering these hidden doorways into the most intimate, private experience of life, like lifting all the little rocks and dragging out all the little kind of dirt that is hidden under there, you know. And it's fascinating, as you say, watching people coming on day one. The circle sits there, and I mean, essentially, they're all full of shit, but they don't know it. And then, but it's true. And then on the last day in the circle, they all sit there, and we all know we're all full of shit, but we know it.
We are
It's a
still
massive
full of shit,
difference, you
but we
know.
are we are not struggling that much anymore.
No, because we allow these rocks to be opened up and like, you know. So
Mhm.
this is why I see it as a lifestyle. Is because as we both understand by now, the armoring really is a journey of mastery, is a journey towards full liberation, and that takes time. I mean,
Yeah.
much time. So as if we see it as a lifestyle, then accepting that we're full of shit is a first step. Without it, we can't. It doesn't mean we're going to be rid of it within a year or two. Of course not. It's going to take many years. But it's the acceptance of the journey that makes it amazing. And this is where we start actually having fun with it and start developing deeper and deeper and helping each other and creating groups and circles and friendships and even relationships of people that are actually on the same journey. And this for me is what is actually the biggest heartwarming moment to notice when people actually start accepting that way of lifestyle, as something that it's a practice. It's not that something that you do once in a lifetime. It's something
Yeah.
that you do in many different ways ongoingly because it has amazing benefits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting. Um, Something is coming up for me while you speak. This uh, that we all carry kind of trauma, you know. It's just like we are all born, and that's the first trauma that we carry. So it's just like nobody is without trauma. So, but it means as well nobody is kaput or broken or needs to be fixed in a way, and kind of finding this, you know, nugget in ourselves to source ourselves from our capacity to grow and transform different levels of trauma. And I remember before the last training, there was one of the participants taking the advantage or just the opportunity to book a call with me and just ask me, you know, everybody knows I'm a consent geek. And that this is kind of my superpower that I bring in, kind of just like how can I create an environment in the field that people feel safe and make the choices about the experience that they want to have, that they're having enough capacity literally to make that choice about being touched in areas that is absolutely a no-go in normal life, and then empower them, giving them the language and the communication by choice to be in their power. And this is what this person asked me on that call, just like, what, you know, what is if I don't want to be touched at all? Or what if I don't want to be touched in areas that I don't like? And I said, just like, then you just say no.
Yeah.
And we teach you exactly how to say no, not only that you can guide people in the training the way how and where you want to be touched, that you learn that as a life skill, that you then in life really know how it feels when you have a no in your life, that you then can respond accordingly without going into this old trauma trap and behave in a way that is not healthy. and it
Yeah.
just really resource yourself from that experience. And this person, observing that person in the training was absolutely fantastic to see when I know the story about that person, what was possible. Like, Peter Levine here, the grandfather of somatic experiencing and trauma release work, said just like, trauma is not a life sentence. And this is kind of the way how I see us three in there. We just provide that field that people can literally come into that place of, um, yeah, they're resourceful and whole and being real, and
Mm.
this is what I love about you. They're just you're real, this is just like we're not playing games here. We are not here
No.
to kind of letting people go along with any kind of stories or pretending anything. So it's like, now, if you want to show up for this truth, we help you 100%.
Yeah.
And and I love that as well with Sana, the way how she shows up for people and how people trust her. And I've seen some pictures kind of making the video in the last days, and I see Sana sitting in the middle and the two of us like pillars next to her so that she can really shine in her kind of radiance and in her superpower of her softness and
Mm.
in her fierceness. And so the kind of the team that we are, it's I
It's
really love,
special.
it's
It's
special. I really
special.
love
It's
this
special. I
the
think,
chemistry that we just
yeah, yeah,
provide
yeah,
here
yeah,
because we're
yeah.
so different.
And also what I can see is that because our relationship changes through time, and then I can see that when dynamic between three of us is one, that actually has, like, if you remember the last year's training, also in Sweden, but 2022.
Mhm,
Wow, what a different experience. Same
mhm,
teachers, same size group, same place. I mean, the Skepstuden, very, very different experience.
mhm,
And it's because of the synergy or dynamic that we create, and then it filters into the field. Field feels it and field responds. It's not because there was a special group of people then and it's a different group of people now. It's us actually vibrating a different level, creating different response from life, and the group is kind of representation of life. So what that showed me after this last one that we did, because it was so magical, I'm really like, the only thing that I'm really, really looking closely and working on is creating that synergy between three of us, even deeper, even more friendly, even more trusting, even more kind of like this, so that when we actually sit in front of the group, the clearing, the field that we create is the one that inspires people to go all in and just dive into this, lifting the rocks and plucking the stuff out faster, bigger bites rather than sheepish and kind of little by little. It's also good, but I think in 10 days, because time is limited, 10 days goes quickly. So I, in experience, I have a proof that I can see that when three of us are in this special, I don't know how to call it, like it's magical place of trust between us, it really filters into and helps people do more work actually. If you like, they get more for their money. If three of us are in unison, it's quite amazing to see it.
yeah,
How much we actually, yeah.
it's so powerful. I mean, three of
Yeah.
us, we are a quarter of a football team, and we can do some stuff, right? But you know what I want to say is as well at this point is, I mean, the three of us, we just like holding the core, the center, and everything radiates into the field and creates the field. Um, what I really love is as well the opportunity for participants to come into the training as assistants so that they
Hmm.
literally get really closer to us and see us kind of doing the magic and doing the art and kind of supporting other participants from their own perspective of have been a participant. And the last team that we had, just like to mention a few, like Heini or Marco or Gregory or Peter or Astrid, who else was there? Well, we
That
were
was it.
six. six assistants, was just like, that was just one supportive group, and that just as well. So everybody who has been at the training as a participant, if you want to get closer and just like get a deeper layer of the armoring, the assistance part is absolutely mind-blowing for you as well. And then everybody who is coming to the training, that they know as well, okay, on one point when they go through this and they have done their work, that they can, of course, they need to be approved in a way, but as well assist and go deeper and make that on one point, maybe even a deeper, you know, work line, just like
Mm.
learn how do you hold space and facilitate a group of 45 people who dealing with their drama, trauma, life
Mm.
struggles and all that, and hold them
Mm.
together and create that field. It's a
It's
fantastic
magical.
experience.
I mean, also like when we're talking about longevity and since 2016, 17, 18, watching our participants then and then coming to assist and who are they today and who they were then, it's wow. This is
Mm.
also, I wish we actually had the recordings of the training so then we can create some kind of a timeline through time, how much people change. Even I
Mhm.
think stills would also be better than nothing, but we don't have them. But I really do like this. This is like it gives me more conviction to talk about the armoring because now we can see through time. In actuality, like Marco is complete. Like he's a different guy when he first came, and now it's like, I mean, totally different guy. And Greg, all of them actually, because the armoring works. So if you walk the path and if you happen to stick around this work, I mean, it has an effect. It really,
Mhm.
this is like provable, proven time and time again. And I guess so. Also, one of the biggest benefits for me, because I really love people. I love seeing people thrive. Really, that gives me huge joy. So to see those kind of results and changes in people's lives, of course I'm gonna do it again. Of course I'm gonna carry on. Of course I'm not gonna stop because I mean, look at it. it's,
Mhm.
it's it's incredible. It's really that's what magic is. Not just participants come once and never again, but to see the participants become assistants and then assist first time, second time, third time, fourth time, and the change is like
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
it's incredible. It really is incredible. Yeah, yeah.
Just like seeing the last training and the training before that we just had at Skeppsöden, it's kind of the it's a transformative place in Sweden. Many people know that place, right?
Mm.
And it has as well a kind of a rawness as in nature, and it's just absolutely, it's a little bit when I would put it in a story. Most people have seen this Sylvester Stallone, Rocky Balboa thing, where he had lost his championship against the Russian person. And then he just went in nature, kind of carrying a wooden wheel in the snow, kind of biting himself through the rawness of the place. And this is the transformative energy of Skeppsöden a little bit. And but now we have an upgrade of that place for the next training. We have a little bit, we have the championship, the next people who coming into the training, they have the upgrade of a really fantastic luxury space in Västerö.
Yeah, that's gonna be. When I first saw the pictures, I was almost like, "Oh my god, this is too luxurious," because it really is plush, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
Can we win? Can we win here when we have are we getting fat cats when we're sitting
They're
so much
gonna we're gonna
luxury?
turn out they're just gonna send us away. No, no, no.
Yeah.
Come with a shirt and a tie.
Right. But this is as well kind of we just as well want to yeah evolve and finding different spaces as well. And I'm really looking forward to having this next training in this place and with the same
Yeah, me
capacity
too.
of screaming and being loud and doing everything as private and confidential as we have done in Skeppsöden. But I have a specific question for you,
Go on then.
because we are we're talking so glorified how awesome everything is and how, but as we know, it's as well a challenge. What's your biggest challenge for you as a facilitator, as a professional doing this work, this training? What's your biggest?
Honestly, it was actually keeping my ego aside, because doing something once is easy. Doing it twice is easy. Doing it 3 times starts getting a little bit more difficult. Do it more times gets more difficult because ego awakens.
Mm,
And so the biggest challenge really for me was not working on myself, because this is something I do for many, many decades, so that's okay. But it was actually maintaining check on my ego when it comes to business side of keeping the business together, and my relationship with Sana also at times was very challenging. A few years ago, we almost split up because it was very challenging.
mm,
So I think for me, the biggest challenge was to realize how to put my, let's call it small Dejan Matuka ego aside, and really see the bigger picture of what we're actually doing there, what's important. And what turned out to be more important than my ego is the work that we do. And I'm
mm,
super happy. Actually, this is like, well done, Dan, for not falling prey to my I want this and I want that, but actually allowing myself to crumble in my big ego and to actually surrender to the cause, the what we're actually doing there.
mm,
Because that actually, it was this one particular training. I think it was in Spain. At the end of the training, in a closing round, closing circle, people started feedbacking Sana and I to how they see us and the importance of us actually doing what we're doing. And that actually broke me. Literally emotionally, I fell apart, and Sana did as well at the same time, because it was so demonstrative of like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, what the fuck? Like, do we want to be big ego and just destroy this amazing work that we do, or do we want to actually listen to the people and give them what they need? In
mm.
which case, we need to put our ego aside. So that was a turning moment. I think I can speak for her as well, for both of us, to really say, okay, from now on, like, just stop fighting. It's like not even fighting, just stop being righteous and me, and let's think in terms of day.
Mhm.
So, yeah, this is the biggest challenge, I think.
Yeah, I can relate to that, just like as the German mastermind, it's not like that I know everything. I know that I know everything, but I want to everybody else know that I know everything. And then not that I know it better. So that's like kind of a big thing for myself. But my biggest challenge is literally, specifically as this consent geek and this consent person, kind of I just carry like this like a code of impeccability. I have to be impeccable with what I do, and
Ah,
I can't make a mistake, and I just have to be super careful and every super conscious about everything. And this last training, I just make the first, since years, literally, since I actually started with studying with Betty Martin, kind of the way how, there is a certain way of consent rigidity that I have kind of inherited and learned, and the fear of making mistakes. Yeah. And the fear of making mistakes has been kind of putting a lid on myself, holding my gifts back. And my gift is literally, I'm a body worker since 15 years and I'm so good with my hands and I love that work. And so this fear and being afraid in the workshop, doing demos, for example, then helping in the exchanges people to dig a little bit deeper and doing it from the right intention, from the right place, and being confronted with my own fear of making a mistake as a facilitator touching somebody. Yeah. And that was the first time since years I have allowed myself to make that mistake or make mistakes, and then recognizing, no, I actually, that wasn't a mistake, that was very welcomed and really laughed. But the insecurity that I'm carrying as a consent teacher, consent facilitator, yeah, there are kind of different subtle nuances to break through over years doing that. But that's a big challenge for me, kind of showing up with the right intention and having the right vibrations, um, guiding me through that. That's one challenge. And the other one is just like, I mean, God, after a training of 10, 11 days, I'm so exhausted.
Oh, really?
I'm so exhausted. It's just like giving everything and more that I have and that I can shows me as well that one of my shadows is literally as well, um, the recovering pleaser dynamic, doing more than I actually have,
Mm.
and then recognizing, okay, it's just not getting younger. I need to household as well with my energies, and then I have to be aware of how much can I actually really give, and making sure that the breaks in between, they are not for questions, they are
Yeah.
for me to do self-care as a role model. No, I just self-care is an important feature, and we all need to do that.
Mm.
That's
It's interesting. Thank you for sharing this thing about being insecure as a body worker because this coming from you has a lot of weight. I'm sure everybody starting on the journey I did, uh, massive doubts. Like, am I doing this right? Am I doing, blah, 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 blah. The doubting Thomas is like huge.
yeah,
So I think hearing it from you that even after 15 years of being a body worker and teaching for God knows how many times years and developing your own system, you still have this insecurity. So I think thank you for sharing that. It's showing people that it just never ends. This is why it's a lifestyle because it's always like next level, next level, next level, next level. It's like
yeah,
this game has no end.
yeah.
Literally, like you can master and master and master and finesse, 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 finesse. It will never stop. So this is yeah, good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting dynamic specifically as a body worker and as a practitioner or a facilitator as people come to the training and want to learn that. And I remember this kind of time of my life where I was so full of myself, kind of saying just like, yeah, I'm this super master body worker and clapping my hand and just like, look how great I am, and I think that's a pitfall where everybody is going through. And today, for example, when I certify people in kind of certain mythologies, I ask them, so in your work, what are you struggling with? What is your biggest obstacle, and what is the biggest thing? And people say, "Oh, I'm good. I have no problems." Just like, okay, you're not ready
You're not
yet,
ready.
because when you open and when you tuned in and you feel, you can at least literally feel the kind of the person's feeling they're coming with in your session, and you can at least pick up on that, and that is normally insecurity. That's some levels of fear, and we have to have this contact to our own insecurities and to our own fears and to our own um, uncertainties that keep us awake and present and just really feeling into that what's going on here. So let's make that transparent what's happening. And,
I mean, this is like a classic tale of, you ask a master or I don't know, the wisest person something, and they say, I know nothing. And to get to that point, you actually like first stage is I know everything because I've just done 10-day training and I know it all. And then you start digging a little bit deeper, scratching a little bit deeper under that surface, and another year, 2, 3 of practice, and then you start thinking, okay, maybe I don't know it all, and then you do another 10 years of practice, and then oh fuck, I know nothing,
Mhm,
because really the knowledge is, I mean, the depth of that container it's endless.
mhm, mhm.
Between light and dark, there's endless shades of gray. So I think this is also showing maturity that I don't actually know everything because otherwise you say, yeah, you're right. If somebody says I know it all, then you're not a beginner.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing is that I see between Sana, you and I, the way how we show up in the field is it's the we're keeping each other accountable. We are recklessness with being honest and true to each other. And when there is a fuck up, we do something. It's just like, yeah, you just there was a fuck up, and then yeah, it was a fuck up. Okay, so let's clean it up. So it's just like it's not under the carpet. Just like no, you just if you want to be a role model, then you're not perfect. You make mistakes. You learn on the way because nothing is picked in stone. And when you do a fuck up, then you just okay, I have fucked that up. I have to own up to my shit here. And that I love this honesty from the three of us, how we're keeping each other accountable. And
Mm.
that makes it kind of really rich in a trio where the way how we facilitate that space, that makes it really rich, and it gives it kind of an extra dynamic, so that this is not like there's no guru sitting there, none of them knows more than anybody else, and even we inspire the participants to speaking their truths towards us if something is not in the right place, you know. And I love the level of honesty and realness and authenticity that is happening there, and the
I
way
think
how
for
we
me
want to provide
this
this.
is really a reason why I do it, because without that honesty is just bullshit. I
Yeah.
mean, life is a bullshit. It's not worth living. Because I had like until about 35, 36, that's where I started realizing that I'm really full of shit and I need to start cleaning stuff up. Because before then, there wasn't that level of honesty. And it's just living a fake existence. It's like, it's not wrong, it's not right either, but what's the point? What does that create? What kind of a life? How do I feel? I look in a mirror, how do I feel? Do I feel good or do I feel like shit?
Mm.
So this level of honesty for me, it's a prerequisite to life. This is why it's a lifestyle, because lifestyle is just be authentic. Just be authentic. It's really okay. Nothing is wrong. You can do pretty much anything you want to do as long as you don't hurt other people. But just be authentic, be yourself, because that really is the key that makes the difference of looking in a mirror and feeling great and looking in a mirror and thinking you slimy fucking piece of shit.
Mm.
And that doesn't feel good. It's not
Mm.
even it doesn't feel good because it's not about feeling, but it's not great. It's
Mm.
just wasting opportunity of life. And so being really so that this is like in a nutshell, being authentic is maximizing my potential of being alive, of using this whatever years I have on this planet Earth well.
Mm.
Well, it's not also because there's nothing well or bad, but you know what I mean. It's like worth living. Otherwise, it's just a waste.
Mhm, mhm.
So without being that honest, brutally honest with myself, and then obviously with others, it's just the whole life is like a lukewarm soup. It like makes me want to vomit almost.
It,
What's
it feels definitely more real. You know, it's just when I see kind of my line of work that I weave into your kind of training kind of part is, you know, we do a lot of this consensual part about the waking up the hands and feeling, and, you know, how does it feel when you go in action for yourself, and how is it when you go in action for others? What do you need to know, and blah, 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 all that stuff. But people come along then saying just like, yeah, I just want to feel more joy. I want to feel more pleasure in my body. And that's just like, yeah, okay, let's start with that and you will feel more. And then along the line, when stuff is happening and the emotions will coming up, then I say, well, I just thought I just only feel more joy and pleasure. It's just like, no, I said you just feel more. That does not mean you feel always more joy and pleasure. You feel everything. And that's kind of part in the de-armoring training that is very congruent and looks parallel. Just like, no, no, when you just go down that road, you know, de-armoring doesn't mean that, you know, everything is always, you know, there's a pot of gold on the other side of the rainbow. You know, just it will hurt. You just go through some periods of life, you know, all this bullshit that we have conscious or no, no, successful suppressed for so many years that we have conditioned with, you know, that stuff needs to come alive. It comes up that we can actually be real. So you will definitely feel more. It doesn't mean you feel always better.
I mean, better. This is like when for people who seek pleasures in life, this is not it. But if you want to feel more alive, then definitely yes. Because just a pleasure is like it comes and goes. Or there is like a still polarity, like pleasure pain. Now I feel pleasure and I feel good, and then I don't feel pleasure or I feel bad. So there is no stability, there is no
Yeah, yeah.
center line. And what I really like about this lifestyle is that every time I'm confronted, I'm losing energy to resisting whatever wants to come. So I'm pushing
Yeah.
against. But when I actually stop resisting it and allow it to come through, I actually feel more alive. I like the life force that returns makes me alive. I feel I'm alive. I don't feel I am alive.
Hmm.
And that's the benefit because that gives me energy to then do my life. And in my case, I go and kite and have lots of fun, and somebody else will do whatever. But basically, I have a life, live. And so this is, I think, the biggest benefit. For me, it was in my 30s when I realized this. I call it becoming addicted to breakdowns or to feeling shit. Because I know that every time I feel like that is because I'm pushing something against. But all I have to do is accept it, work through it. And through working through it, I release the energy that's pent up in resisting it. So that actually is life force. This is life giving. So once people go through enough, maybe two, one, two, three experiences of that kind of breakdown, breakthrough, breakdown, breakthrough, or go from resistance to life, resistance, life, then I think you're hooked. Then life becomes a path of how can I liberate more energy to feel more alive, and then it's good for me, good for everybody else.
Yeah, it's again comes back what Sana and I have been talking about, that just like it just becomes a sport, It's just like
Yeah,
and if you are a sportsman, you don't trick yourself. And I was just talking here with a friend the other day about that, uh, um, specifically in this terms of not resisting what we don't want to feel. And comes back to this ideology of consent. It's just like, no, you can give consent to feel your fear. You can give yourself permission to feel your uncertainties. You can allow yourself to feel insecure. You can allow yourself to be vulnerable. You can allow yourself to feel everything. And that means everything. And that's where the liberation is. And that in itself is it's a field of de-armoring I really love in life. This is the real life de-armoring.
yeah. But this is it. This is the core.
Yeah,
Just feel everything.
yeah,
And if you feel everything by default, you don't put anything under the stone. You don't hide anything. So default, you don't build armor. This is
yeah.
it. This is the formula of life. Like feel everything, be alive. And but
So
it's
what's the?
interesting, huh?
No, sorry, didn't want to
No, I
interrupt
was
you.
gonna say it's like it's interesting how we start life, we go to school, we go through all sorts of conditioning, which actually, unfortunately, teaches us to hide. And it's my head is going this way because it's not wrong, but it's just we're not conscious, and our teachers and parents are definitely not conscious of what that creates for the kids afterwards in life. It creates a fucking nightmare because it installs this system of having to hide, system of having, this is I don't feel safe to show it because something's gonna happen bad. But
Yeah,
actually, all is gonna happen is you're gonna stay normal,
yeah, yeah,
and we're not taught that. We don't know the value of being raw, honest, and fucked up.
yeah. I like that so much. It's just um a friend of mine has said that, in 2014 when I was teaching this kind of style in another training, and she was saying that, most people that actually coming to the training, they're literally children living in adult bodies,
Yeah.
without being judgmental on that, because they are so stuck still in their society, parent, school, education, conditioning. And this is how I see that now today, from this place of coming to this de-armoring training. It's like, this is the school of adolescence, if you want to say so. So we help you to just become this adult version of
Yeah.
that's suppressed as a
Grow up.
child. And it's like we are literally midwives and helping you just like to birth this
Yeah.
authentic being that you are, and you get our full support with everything that you cook up when you're authentic.
Mm.
And
Mm.
I love it, just like, yeah, the adolescence of
For
uh
being an adult.
maturity. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I really see it like, I think 99.9% of people are still kids in some aspects of their life.
Independent of their age, when they
Yeah,
can.
totally independent of the, yeah. And so this is it, like inner work or work with inner children, working through your childhood things. That's like ABC. That just has to happen. You just
Yeah,
have to do it if you want to call yourself an adult. Otherwise, you cannot really, you
yeah,
know. But it's nothing wrong with it either. I mean, we are product of our society. We're product of like evolutionary process of this particular society is what it is. And then other societies will have their own uh, shortcomings, if you like. But so there is nothing wrong with it. This is, at least in my book, it's accepted path of evolution of a soul to embody. That we get born in a Western society here and we get mummied. I mean, the system is mummying us. The everything is designed to hush hush, shushy shushy, mushy bushy. You poor little thing. You're not responsible for anything. You have a big papa, big mama. They take care of you. The government takes care of you. You don't need to pushy shushy shushy.
the
It's
childish responsibility, just like
totally.
blaming,
I mean, I can see
shaming,
why it's designed that way because it actually helps people stay powerless. So we are easily manipulated. I can see that. But I can also see that going the other way is a lot more fulfilling. Taking responsibility for myself and actually owning my power, owning the responses that I get from life, becoming response able
yeah.
is ultimately millions of times better than being nannied and shushed and hushed, you know?
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic as well. What I see sometimes is a little bit disillusionation coming up in me. For example, the last training, seeing this is just like everybody has been digging in the best version of themselves as much as they could and wanted. And then, just like there was this container of love and transformation and liberation. And then, we have this bubble, 45 people kind of on their edge of, divinity, so to say. And then you just get out of that bubble and you just jump in the bus or in the train and go back to Stockholm or to city. And then you see just like, fuck, this entire world needs that. But
Yeah,
now there are 45 more people who
yeah.
actually bring their truth and authenticity to the world. And what I love about the Dearmouring arts community is this kind of tribe that we build to support each other. For example, here in Stockholm, there are so many people literally relating, practicing, exchanging, creating their own little tribe of community. And then, of course, there's the online community. But what I would say is the step forward. What is that people, or what is coming next? Where does people find you? Where do you get more information?
But
On the
before we
next
go
step?
there, before we go promoting ourselves, which it's okay, you can just find us thearmoringarts.com, lovecode.com, you'll find it. But I wanted to talk about the armoring as a concept, which is developing in Europe. So
All right,
some
yeah.
people are aware of it, most are not, that we had a legal case because a practitioner from Switzerland, she owned the word the armoring, she had a trademark on it. And so she had started hunting all the Dearmouring practitioners in Europe, asking them to stop using the word. So that kind of put a lid on, and it was just a whole fiasco. It's
Mhm.
like somebody owns word massage, and now nobody can use it. It's ridiculous. So we had to go through legal court system and blah blah. In the end, we won the battle, and since last October, now the word Dearmouring is actually free to be used as a term in by anybody in Europe. And so what I see the next thing, or at least I'm going to work on it, and I'm sure you are too, is to actually make the armoring well known. Just promote the whole, not just our school, every school.
Mm.
Go to everybody who does the armor because it's effective. It's an amazing way of working with yourself. So I see the next, at least foreseeable future for me, is going to be creating material around concept of the armoring. I'm in a conversation right now to create a number of podcasts and also episodes like a documentaries, episode style, half an hour, 45-minute long, and then interview and do like with you, with Suzanne Rosgaard, with everybody that I know that does the armoring in Europe, and basically just spread the word so that all these millions and millions of people in Europe actually get to find out what it is, how it works,
Mm.
where to go and get it, what they can expect, what they can't expect, what are the limitations, what are the safety rules, what are the benefits, what are the shortcomings, what are the other alternative opportunities to it or options to it. So this is what I see as the next, because first, as I said, when we first started the school in 2016, up until that point, the armoring had quite a bad name. And some years afterwards, still I can hear some people coming, clients coming up with the negative experiences. I think of still happening, like
Mm-hmm.
crossing boundaries and stuff like that. So, but much, much less than before. And I think now that the armoring field in Europe is set legally, and also there are enough of us. I mean, just through our school, there's 300 odd people that went through, and through all the other schools and you. I think there is now a few thousand people in Europe that are offering or working on offering the armoring. And I think next thing for the armoring in Europe, at least, is to just go educate, 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 make it available everywhere. All this kind of, even
Yeah.
maybe feature length documentaries,
This is this
definitely,
is
yeah,
this is wonderful what you say, and specifically I want to acknowledge and give you this gratitude for just like fighting this de-armoring fight and just like uh, 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 um, getting this case clear that nobody can own this terminology de-armoring. It's just that and it's really well done the way how you have fought that through so that you are the kind of on the forefront of um, kind of making that open and free for everybody else who is working with the armoring because it's such a liberating thing that nobody can
yeah,
really own. It's just like, as you say, nobody can own massage. It's just like
yeah.
ridiculous. And the way how you describe that, it just feels really nice, kind of that there is no competition. We don't need that competition in that field.
I mean,
It's
there are
just like,
hundreds of millions of customers in
yeah,
Europe alone.
yeah,
Like, there is no competition, none.
yeah,
I mean, if we had 100 schools training teachers twice a year, we would still not even be scratching a surface of
yeah,
this potential.
yeah.
So I definitely don't feel any competition.
We're not living long enough that there would be more practitioner than actually people need the armoring.
No, I mean, like really, like now we kind of established that the armoring is a lifestyle and it's bringing people closer to God, if you like. It's not about God, whatever concept you want to call it, but it's bringing people open to themselves.
It's a
So
spiritual path, definitely.
let's even bring it down to just normality. It's just helping people have most amazing lives they could ever have.
Yeah,
So if that's the definition and the path of the armoring, then literally every single person that is alive could do with the armoring. Because we all went through the same education system. We all had parents that were full of shit, and bless them, they just didn't know better. So how can somebody who's confused prepare someone for life who is not confused? That's not possible.
yeah.
So we're all confused about who we are. We all like this goo goo gaga in some aspects of our being. So I really don't see any competition. I can really empower and inspire everybody who is doing the armor. Just go out there and spread it and do it. And as you said, if we were alive for 500 years, each one of us, we will still have like tons of work to do. So it's like, no, competition just doesn't exist. No,
No,
at the
even though
moment,
it's free then in Europe, people have been flying over from US and from Canada and
as they do.
different continents flying in, just like, well, I need to do this training.
Yeah.
And okay, so we don't need to talk more about the upcoming trainings and all that, but what I would like to bring into the moment here is there is the next live webinar that we're having on Tuesday. The
Tuesday at 7 o'clock Central European time.
Is that
Yeah.
the 8th or the 9th?
It's the ninth.
The 9th.
It's
So Tuesday
Tuesday,
the 9th
coming
at 7
Tuesday.
o'clock on Zoom, and
Central
everybody
European.
has questions about the training and who we are and what we do and what the training is about and what you learn and how we create the container and everything. So the webinar, we want to share a little bit about the webinar. What's your intention and where you want to go with that?
That's it. That's it. Basically, just like talk about the armoring, talk about the trainings that we have in the upcoming year, and also just to get your questions and answers straight, to find out what it is, and how it can help, how it can't help. Is it for me? Is it not for me? Am I ready for it? Do I need to do something before I come? All those kind of questions are super welcome.
Yeah.
So we're gonna put a link for that webinar at the end of this live in the comments below, so people can actually just register and do it. It's going to be on Zoom. And other than that, they can find us at dearmoringarts.com. They can find you at, what is your website?
Somaticconsent.com.
Somaticconsent.com. And then for the rest, we're going to be back with more chats and more. And I just want to say, Matt, really, really, really great talking to you. This was really cool. Yeah. So thank you for your time and yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, we're just creating this friendship as we teach and learn, right?